The thoughts, views, and comments expressed by the hosts, guests, and callers on Beyond the Headlines are not necessarily those of management, ownership, or production unit of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is a production of ILTV Studios and cannot be reproduced or represented in part or entirety without express written permission of the Verizon Media Group. Beyond the Headlines is the intellectual property of the Verizon Media Group. Copyright 2021.
Coming up tonight, 4 years ago today, the PLP won the government. Tonight, how would you grade the government's performance? Now, while you ponder your answer, Grand Bahama Chamber of Commerce President Dylan Knowles joins me to talk about government's performance in Grand Bahama. Also tonight, sources close to Beyond the Headlines say after much public debate, the government is looking into strict measures to address illegal immigration and the problems surrounding that, especially as it pertains to Haitians. We'll tell you about that. It's all straight ahead this evening. This is Beyond the Headlines. Good evening. I'm Shanique Miller. It's great to have you along this evening. On the 4th anniversary of the PLP's victory at the polls, a gentleman from Grand Bahama stopped me early this evening and said the Grand Bahama economy has made a turn, although not a significant enough one. He told me he is happy with the direction the economy is headed nonetheless. He said in many instances on Grand Bahama, you would find people now with 2 jobs, an indication, he says, that things are looking up. Now, while he didn't give the Davis administration a performance grade, I'm going to ask Dylan Knowles, president of the Grand Bahama Chamber of Commerce, his view of government's performance in Grand Bahama in 4 years. Good evening to you, Mr. Knowles. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines. It's great to have you here. Well, it's good to have you on the show.
Good evening, Shanique. Nice to be here. Good evening, Bahamas.
It's good to see you. Let's just jump right in. Let's just talk about where we started right now this evening. What grade would you give the Davis administration in terms of its performance in Grand Bahama and for the people of Grand Bahama?
So, Shanique, I'm not really in the position to grade a government. I grade an administration. I grade the government as a whole, as an institution, and not just an individual administration. As we all know that what happens in the country crosses boundaries in terms of administrations and eras. If you're asking me what is going on the ground in Grand Bahama at this point in time, I'm quite happy to make comments about that.
Absolutely, absolutely. You kind of really ease your way out of that. That's fine. I would not press you further, Dylan. I certainly would not. But I wish somebody in Grand Bahama could call your phone right now. But listen, you feel though that moving the airport project forward, because this is the major thing today with the administration, with the government rather saying, listen, we are now in a position of having to look for new funding after the initial funding fell through. What was the feeling after that news broke today? What was the feeling on Grand Bahama, and in particular you, who are the voice and the face of the business community there?
So the airport obviously is important as a matching pair of shoes, if you wish, to the development of the Grand Cayman. Right now on Grand Bahama, the tourist market is basically dependent on the cruise industry. And cruise lines have sought to develop their own product on Grand Bahama, basically because we haven't developed the product for them. But when we switch to talk about air visitors, obviously we need attractions for them, which is why the hotel is important. And for the hotel to be successful, we will also need to have a air terminal for guests to come through. There's a lot of discussion about when and how that is to happen. But at the end of the day, they need to happen in tandem. We don't need one before the other or one after the other. We need them to happen at the same time.
Yeah, but possibly it may not happen at the same time. I mean, what is the one thing that needs to happen first, right, like almost instantly now, in order to get everything in Grand Bahama unstuck?
So, in terms of the hotel and the airport specifically, obviously we need to have groundbreaking on the hotel. Um, I believe that the hotel project would take a little longer than the airport project. Um, but at the end of the day, uh, we need to have both of them finish around the same time, because if we're going to have increased passenger count, we need an airport that can deal with the increased passenger count. But we're not going to get increased passenger count until we build the resort that is going to be the attraction for passengers to come.
Yeah, I see exactly what you mean. It kind of sort of it has to happen all at the same time, so that again everything just is sort of unveiled at the same time, and there's no hiccups anywhere. The Deputy Prime Minister basically speaking further to that news today, that the initial funding that the government thought it had secured obviously fell through, and now they will have to find alternative funding. Let's go back to the president of the Grand Bahama Chamber of Commerce, Dylan Knowles, who is joining me live from Grand Bahama this evening. Let's just talk about the Grand Lucaya. I am told that workers there had an issue with pay, as they are still uncertain and up in the air about just exactly maybe when they would have to seek alternative measures. They were paid last night. Were you able to speak with any of them to get their thoughts on how the pay stalled until last night?
No, I have not been in touch with any of the workers at Grand Lucayan. I understand that there was a problem with pay, and I don't know whether that problem is related to the government or to the new developer. So I really couldn't comment on the specifics of that.
Yes. Now, MSC, last week on this show, I talked about MSC. I focus on Grand Bahama quite frequently, Mr. Knowles, and I focused on MSC and the issue there that some are under the impression that negotiation, because of whatever the intricacies are, is also stalling further progress, which a number of things are basically ready and set to go, which is the Xanadu and the Royal Caribbean project and a number of other projects, but then they are waiting on that harbor area to be developed by MSC. Can you speak to that and how just that even starting and the wheels turning can make a significant difference for Grand Bahama?
There are lots of things going on as it relates to the cruise industry that are somewhat up in the air. So Royal Caribbean, through their premier cruise line, Celebrity Cruise Lines, is supposed to build their own essentially theme park and beach experience at the present Xanadu site. I'm understanding that that is also contingent on some activities at the harbor in terms of creating the necessary cruise berths at the harbor for that for the Celebrity Cruise Line ships to berth at. That whole harbor situation is undergoing extensive review. And a proposal was put forward for turning what we call Billy Key, which is a small key in the middle of the harbor that has been expanded due to the dredging, turning that into a new cruise port, which is supposedly a collaboration between multiple cruise lines, not just MSC, but also Royal Caribbean and others. So at the end of the day, we could end up on Grand Bahama with a cruise and attraction at the harbor, one at Xanadu, one at the Grand Lucayan, and of course the already built one at Celebration Key. They will obviously change the dynamic on Grand Bahama tremendously, and maybe in the short term would create some challenges, as I've seen with the Celebration Key startup. There have been some challenges, but in the long term, I think they bode well for Grand Bahama by bringing lots more passengers to Grand Bahama, to which we in the business community then need to figure out how to entice them off of the boat,
Absolutely. And off
out
those
of the
keys. Yes.
and
Yeah.
off of the keys and into the public. Yes.
Yeah, I absolutely agree because I've been speaking with residents in Grand Bahama now for quite some time, and I've shared this. Like, listen, this island appears poised to really have a rebirth. And what are you doing to take advantage of what will soon be on stream? And so today, though, is Grand Bahama better and its economy and its business economy better today than it was 4 years ago?
Most definitely it's better today than it was 4 years ago, but it's better in different ways. So for instance, I had a conversation today with a major excursion operator who was lamenting the challenges that they're having with Carnival moving to its own port and having a captured audience, and that audience not coming off site and taking excursions and involving themselves in the offerings of the main island itself. My personal belief on this is that this is typical for new ventures. Once the novelty wears off of sitting in the pool at Celebration Key, that the future waves of tourists that will come on Carnival ships will want to venture onto the wider island,
especially as attractions are introduced to the product.
Absolutely.
to enhance it.
And that's exactly the point. The point that I make all the time is business is about providing goods and services that people want and are prepared to pay for. And we have to be in the business of doing just that, not just doing what we want to do as businesses, but what the market wants us to do as businesses. And we've been delinquent in that in lots of ways.
I thank you very much for speaking with me this evening. I'm pretty excited for Grand Bahama. I wish you would have dared and tip your toe in the ocean and say, listen, I give this administration. But you spoke quite frankly and honestly about where Grand Bahama stands, and of course the fact that there are many things happening, but something just needs to kind of like a wind to push everything forward and make it happen. So, but we'll obviously stay in touch with you as everything continues to unfold and come on stream to continue getting your expert insight, opinion, and analysis on Grand Bahama and the turn that we all are rooting for in the Grand Bahama economy. Thank you very much for joining me, President of the Grand Bahama Chamber of Commerce, Dylan Knowles.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we are going to talk about the government's 4 years in office. Of course, that happened 4 years ago today. We're also going to talk about what's happening in Freetown, what's happening elsewhere. It's all straight ahead on Beyond the Headlines. Stay close.
Cancer Treatment Centers of America is now City of Hope, creating one of the leading cancer care and research networks from coast to coast, providing more of what you need. More locations means more care closer to home. More specialists means more expertise. More research means more breakthroughs. More advancements means more treatment options. And more options means more hope. Call now to get more of the care you need.
Sting Junkanoo Group is celebrating 25 years of music, and you're invited to the greatest show ever. Counting down the years, performing hit song after hit song. Stevie S, Colin McDonald, KB, Dyson Knight, and D-Mac. Saturday, November 1st at the Farm Marshall Road, 8 p.m. until. Tickets can be purchased online at www.bahamasettickets.com for your skybox or to be a food vendor. Call 424-6433, 477-0191. Sponsored by ZNS, Island Luck TV, The Farm, Gatorade Today & Co. Limited, Krista Minute, and Associates.
At the Water and Sewage Corporation, safety and convenience are our top priorities. However, our meter readers face challenges that can make their job difficult. Locked gates to guard dogs sometimes leads to missed readings and estimated bills, which can be frustrating for you and us. That's why we're upgrading to digital meters. They bring safety, accuracy, and convenience to homes across the Bahamas. We can streamline data collection, reduce on-site visits, and provide more accurate bills with no more estimates. Digital meters also help detect leaks early, saving you from costly bills and reducing water waste. Soon, a user-friendly app will let you track your water usage, manage bills, and stay informed, all at your fingertips. Over the next year, we're rolling out digital meters nationwide, transforming how we serve you with a safer and cost-efficient water supply. To learn about our digital meters, visit our website or call us today. And don't forget to update your information at any of our locations.
I feel good when you're wrapped up in my arms, dancing to a reggae song. Feel good, feel good. I feel good, cause your perfume isn't loud, and only I can talk about. Feel good, feel good. You feel like velvet rubbing over my skin, and when your hair...
It's me, Wednesday Addams. Your life just took a dark turn. I regret to inform you that I have devised the meal of misfortune with Wendy's. It's pure torture for your taste buds, with 4 nightmarish dips of dread. Don't waste my time asking which ones you'll get. You must surrender to your fate. Enjoy the anguish.
Beyond the Headlines is now introducing powerful TV advertising opportunities made just for you. Choose our television ad package, 20 30-second ads for $2,000 or 20 60-second ads for $2,500 plus VAT. Prefer flexibility? Go a la carte. Just $150 for a 30-second ad or $200 for a 60-second ad. Step into the spotlight with our interview package. 1 15-minute interview for $500 or 4 for $15 per month. Or bring Beyond the Headlines directly to you with our live on location package, only $2,600 plus VAT. For more information, contact our sales agent at 242-466-6173.
This segment is brought to you by EV Motors Fleet Sales Division. For 2026 commercial vehicles, call 821-2403 today.
Welcome back to Beyond the Headlines. It's good to have you continuing to tune in. By the way, did you settle on a grade as yet for the performance of this Davis administration in its 4 years in office? We're going to move right on this evening. After sweeping into office 4 years ago, the Progressive Liberal Party stands at a crossroads, claiming victories in the nation's finances, but still haunted by the plea of residents impacted by soaring cost of living. Tonight, Devontae Hanna takes a look back at the Davis administration's biggest achievements and downfalls.
4 years ago today, just over 126 Bahamians cast their ballot in a historically low turnout of 65%. On that day, voters handed the Progressive Liberal Party a 32-7 victory, putting Philip Davis and his team into office on the promise of a new day. The Davis administration came to power in 2021 with a blueprint for change to rescue the economy, modernize healthcare and education, expand housing, reduce electricity costs, and increase government transparency. 4 years later, some of those promises have taken shape and others remain unfulfilled. Economically, the government has recorded its strongest gains. The national deficit has fallen from more than $1 billion in 2021 to under $300 million in the first half of this fiscal year. Revenues are up, spending is more controlled, and the debt-to-GDP ratio is declining, according to the Ministry of Finance. Infrastructure has also advanced. New roads and housing subdivisions have come on stream, with efforts to improve Family Island connectivity reportedly underway. But high costs of living continue to strain families, despite measures such as a VAT reduction from 12 to 10% and an additional cut to 5% on food and medications, and an increase in minimum wage from $210 to $250. The government has pushed renewable energy initiatives, including solar microgrids, but rising electricity bills remain a crippling issue. On transparency, critics point to delays in fully implementing the Freedom of Information Act and other accountability measures, which the Prime Minister himself has acknowledged is not a priority. Healthcare has seen mixed results. Ground has been broken for a new hospital in Grand Bahama and partial funding secured for another in the capital, but the country will ultimately have to foot 96% of the bill. Upgrades to clinics are in progress, and a catastrophic health fund was established to help those with serious illnesses. Public sector workers have seen salary adjustments, and 59 new industrial agreements have been signed, a sharp contrast to previous administrations. In education, initiatives such as the National School Breakfast Program have rolled out, but broader reform remains a challenge. Delays and slow progress continue to plague major projects, particularly in the Family Islands. Grand Bahama, promised as an innovation city, has yet to see that vision materialized. As the administration enters the final stretch of its term, its ability to complete key projects and deliver relief to ordinary Bahamians will likely determine how its blueprint for change is judged and whether voters will grant them another term. Devontae Hanna, Eyewitness News.
Well, a very fair assessment and thorough report by Devontae Hanna on the government's fourth year anniversary. I want to bring in right now the Hot Topics panelists, Beyond the Headlines contributors. Good evening to both of you, Peggy Candace and Ellington Ferguson. Welcome to Beyond the Headlines.
Good evening, Shanique. Thank you for having me.
Good evening, Shanique. Good evening, Bahamas. Certainly, it's a pleasure to be here once again. Thank you.
I want to ask you both individually. Jump right in. Let's just do this. Let's get to it. What grade would you give this administration on its performance in 4 years?
I would not dare. I would not dare. I'm going to have to take the way of Mr. Knowles.
No, excuse me. It's no pleading the fifth. We don't even have a fifth here.
I would not dare, but I will commend that when you look at what is being done. And I think I'm speaking about put down the shade, put down the sarcasm, put down the criticism, and be honest and take a look. Those are the things that I had to do over the last 2.5 months. When I decided to take a look at what is being done instead of just criticizing, oh, you misspoke, oh, you should have said it this way. Look at what is being done. And I came to realize that this government has been very busy. Yes, they have been signing contracts, breaking grounds, but in all of that, things are coming out of the ground. If we look at in Eleuthera, South Eleuthera, we see things coming out of the ground. If we look at Blue Hill Road, we see a clinic that ground was broken only this year, coming out of the ground. If we look in Kiet Island, out of the ground. If we look in Exuma, out of the ground. And so things are being done. Yes, the economy is not as strong, but the economy is not strong globally. And so if you're gonna give this government a fair assessment, look at what is being done. And not out of a critical eye, but out of a eye saying, let me see where my money is being spent.
Well, Shanique, when you talk about grade, in school there is your term grade, and then there's the exam grade. Mm-hmm. Now you can get A's and B's in the term grade, and if you have a poor exam, that will affect your term grade, and your overall, it'll bring down your grade point average. Mm-hmm. Same thing if you have a poor, or you're not too good in the term grade, and you're good with your exams, then one will affect the other, and it will kind of bring it down. And so you must look, the report that we looked at a while ago about the government's accomplishments. I think this administration has come in with a whole agenda. They've been very aggressive. They've hit the ground running. They've had many missteps, of course. Mm-hmm. However, you cannot deny some of the things that are happening. I think they've been very, very good in their housing projects. This government, yes, they have spent tremendous amount of money in travel budgets, some of which I think was unnecessary. Nevertheless, you've seen some fruits from some of their travel abroad from the African Afro-Exim Bank that is making some huge investments here in the Bahamas. Some other areas, we're still struggling with BPL, but yet you see things on the ground as it relates to BPL. You see the work going on. Bahamians have yet to really feel the relief. I know for a brief moment of about 2 to 3 months, When we had the prices begin to go down, people were kind of praising it, and all of a sudden, price went back up. So obviously, there's a lot still left to be done for this government, for this administration to really get BPL finalized. Peggy, you talk about Eleuthera. Eleuthera has been going through it. They're talking about doing some things on Eleuthera, and Eleutherians are waiting for some really, really much needed relief. Grand Bahama, in the midst of all that is happening globally, all the uncertainty in the market, the Bahamian economy has begun to come around very slowly, but nevertheless, Grand Bahama, with all of its challenges, its economy is rebounding. You heard the gentleman from the Chamber of Commerce talk about the growth of the economy. Nevertheless, on Grand Bahama, we have the Alukaya. They have got to do something to get that going. That obviously is not going to move, and I could understand why people will not put funds in the ground unless you know how you're going to get airlift, how you're going to get people to Grand Bahama. I know the hotel takes longer than the airport to construct, but I could go ahead and start knowing that my hotel takes longer than the airport, and then even though I take longer, when I'm done, you still ain't get your deal to build your airport, and so I'm still where I was afraid of going. And so the government, that is something that the government, and they would talk about working feverishly to get that done. That airport is critical. As things begin to move in Grand Bahama, without that airport, it can cause things to begin to slow down. It can cause doubt to begin to set in amongst the people, and that is not what you want. I think Grand Bahama is poised for something great. I think the magic, I spoke with persons from the Grand Bahama Port Authority, the Grand Bahama Chamber down there, and they're poised for something great. I really believe that. But this government, they've got to move more post-haste with that airport to get that airport going. With all of that said, I think once the government can get these projects off and really completed. See, having projects in the ground is not good enough. Unfortunately, a lot of voters
take them off the drawing board.
They don't understand that. That don't mean nothing to them. They call that all talk. Of course, things take time to get done. So once they can get them done, they will probably get an A. Right now, I'll give them a C+.
You great.
He graded, Peggy. That's what you do. You step up.
You brave man.
You step up and you make happen. But I'll tell you this, that our grade might be bumped up a little bit because well-placed sources have confirmed to be on the headlines that the government plans to tackle illegal immigration, mainly, get this you all, Bahamians, wait, y'all listening? You're listening. Mainly the illegal Haitian immigration issue. I was told late this evening, in fact, before airtime, that it is something that the government is ensuring that it dots all its I's and crosses its T's to ensure that whatever the decision is, and it will be announced shortly, that this is something that can stick legally and in every which way, humanely and all the rest of it, but they are working on something to help secure the sovereignty of the Bahamas. Now, I want to ask you both, what is it that the government needs to do in very intentional steps and publicly to ensure the Bahamian people that when it comes to the Bahamas, Bahamians are first and to address this thorn that's been in the sides of the Bahamian people for so long?
First of all, Shanique, I always had a problem, and I will always have a problem, that anybody that comes to this show, to these shores, and whether you're here, especially if you come here illegally, and we decide that, okay, you've been here for 50 years, 40 years, or whatever amount of time, that we're granting citizenship. I think that is ludicrous. It's crazy. There should be a pathway to citizenship. And so if you've been here and we find out that you deserve to stay, to give you some status, you give them residency, you track their behavior, you track the kind of citizen that they intend to be before to decide later on down the years if they become entitled to citizenship. Okay, so that is something that I think they really need to take into consideration as they put things together. That residency first, man. Let's go residency, and all knowing that.
So remove that provision that says you are entitled at the age of 18, particularly if you ended up somehow the way you got here was illegal.
I think they should adjust that, move that. People who come here illegal, I think you should never be given citizenship. You can be given residency. Your children can attain citizenship at some point. But once you illegally come here and we decide to give you some status, you get a residency you'll never be able to vote on all of that stuff. That is what I believe.
I agree with Mr. Ferguson. Additionally, that pathway must be clear, especially those individuals who were born in the Bahamas. That pathway to citizenship, I agree that if you come here illegally, then residency is some sort of status that you can be employed, that you can make contribution to NIB and economy. Also, I believe there must be some guidelines when it comes to taking finances out of this country. Jamaica. I don't think you should just walk up and send money out of this country to build up another economy. The government should somehow receive some funding from that. Huge.
It's a huge industry, you're right.
Yeah, and so those things must be considered. And when you take the taxation, should be earmarked for education, financing education or health, because we say, oh, they get free health, they get free. Well, take the funding that you get from them, sending funds to these different nations, and say this is earmarked. Whatever we receive is earmarked to assist with education, to assist with public health system services. And so there are ways that we can come out, and I look forward to hearing what the government has planned and understanding and see how the public react. And curiously, that is about the Asian population when there's so many others.
There are others, but I guess they're trying to deal with the big elephant in the room. That's been the heaviest lift.
Yeah.
Not only that, Shanique, but once they deal with the heaviest lift, as you say, but that law with blankets and covers
everyone,
all the others.
Yeah. Everyone.
But also the Asian community has been made a public hot topic.
Well, I'll tell you, it's like the Mexicans in the U.S.
It's the greater bird.
When you have imposed yourself on the economy of a nation, and the citizens of that nation feel displaced because of you, largely, then that's when you become the focus.
Absolutely.
And so it's not a hatred of anyone.
If
you do it legally and let's get it done.
The pathway.
But otherwise, any government must put its foot down to protect its own sovereignty and the sovereignty of each citizen.
4 years later.
Politics, when we come back after the break.
Oh, yes.
Politics.
We have to be mindful that as much as we want touristic development, what impacts the fisheries? Over coastal development, destruction of mangroves, overzealousness of the industry. We have a new movement called do-it-yourself fishing. That is anglers who come to the Bahamas, they don't engage in hiring a guide. Because of this approach, you are going to have people who are going to exhaust the resources.
This is an industry that's preserved. It should be for Bahamian guides only. We have the DIYs coming in here and they're destroying our flats.
We try not to overfish certain areas, so we'll fish a certain area and we'll back off for a while because we don't want the fish to feel too much pressure.
It's not just using the buzzwords of the environment and the ecology. The tourists can be educated that the more you support local ownership, people are doing it obviously the right way, the more the economic circulation in the communities.
I think the most critical thing is accountability, and that accountability by way of legislation, both the Act and regulations to govern fly fishing in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
I look at conservation efforts and the regulation that I've seen to protect the industry that's in the developed world. All of those jurisdictions have implemented strong regulation to protect their fisheries. We are way behind, but we do have a movement and a consciousness. We know where we need to be. Those are our resources, and we have to make an exerted effort to protect it because that's the only gift that we have been given. And if we don't protect that, then we lose everything.
Building the lodge, I understood clearly the mission to continue what my father started. From this lodge, it has served as the headquarters. We finally got legislation passed in 2016, and it legitimized the guiding profession. We pushed to get the program established into BAMSI in the training of the next generation of guides, but it extends way beyond that.
We need more Bahamians in the industry who are doing the research to provide the information to the industry, that is to fishermen and to everybody who benefits from the resources.
We don't know the resources in this country. We grew up just hearing about sun, sand, and sea.
It is going to be through education and awareness, whether it's within our schools, whether it's in our communities, to conserve the environment, that is going to sustain the fly fishing industry.
Well, the future of fly fishing in the company, I think fly fishing is a very, very unique spot. I think it's going to get better because the guides are now being all certified. They're all getting proper knowledge of handling and how to run the whole system.
If you're a youngster and you want to get into this, it's a job like any other job. You got to live it. You got to love it.
Young entrepreneurs coming in, you want that kind of interest. You want that kind of drive and desire. You want to carry that. You want to become the product.
Crack the code and win $1 million. Crack the code and win $1 million.
7 numbers, $1 million. Every 3 days, a number is revealed. Act fast. Your million is waiting.
Crack that code, win $1 million clear.
Crack the code before the last lock clicks shut. Get ready to join the winner's circle only at islandluck.com.
Crack the code and win $1 million.
So you want a space. But not just any space. You need something with a little more potential. So how about 1,000 square feet of room to play with? Superb audio and video production capability, digital LED wall, full lighting grid, and about 124 seats to accommodate a full studio audience with so many other features. Make us your home for your next concert, conference, and so much more. Honestly, the possibilities are endless. Here at ILTV Studios, we'd love to bring your next event to life. So what do you say? Do you want our space?
Beyond the Headlines is now introducing powerful TV advertising opportunities made just for you. Choose our television ad package, 20 30-second ads for $2,000 or 20 60-second ads for $2,500 plus VAT. Prefer flexibility? Go a la carte. Just $150 for a 30-second ad or $200 for a 60-second ad. Step into the spotlight with our interview package. 1 15-minute interview for $500 or 4 for $15 per month. Or bring Beyond the Headlines directly to you with our live on location package, only $2,600 plus VAT. For more information, contact our sales agent at 242-466-6173.
This segment is brought to you by EV Motors Fleet Sales Division. For 2026 commercial vehicles, call 821-2403 today.
Here at Beyond the Headlines, we would love to welcome you as a part of our family. Of course, sponsorships and special interviews promoting your events, your products, whatever it is that you have to sell, you can do so effectively here on this platform at Beyond the Headlines. Also, of course, you all know it's political season. We spent the last segment talking about politics and the government's performance in the last 4 years. Hey, as you know, it's about a year out, and so you can come here and sit next to me or across from me and talk about your mandate, what it is you want to do as a candidate, as an independent candidate, as somebody belonging to an umbrella organization. This is the spot for you to hang out and speak to the Bahamian people. We want to welcome you here. Of course, reach out to the sales and marketing department. Well, speaking of politics, happening this evening in Freetown. I tell you, all eyes were trained on Freetown. The F&M's Lincoln Deal and independent candidate Andrew Blue Johnson, both on the campaign trail early this evening. Not sure if it's wrapped up as yet, but they certainly were out there. And I'll tell you this, the energy seemed to be real, present in both camps. Let's take a look at this. Well, there you see both campaigns there on the ground in Freetown this evening. The Free National Movement, I saw, of course, former MP for Freetown, Dionisio D'Aguilar, did not see Lincoln Deal, but also there are some others there with T-shirts saying Freetown wants blue. You know him. He appeared on this show just recently, basically stating that he desired the Free National Movement's candidacy, or nomination rather, did not get it. And it appears as though he is leaning more towards an independent run. And so we obviously are paying close attention to not only that area, but Kalani, which I'll tell you about what's happening there in just a second. But listen, I want to bring the panelists back in. And you all, what do you make of what you saw in Freetown this evening?
Freetown is the hot spot, Shanique. I mean, I've been sharing updates on my page because I'm intrigued by what is happening. I'm intrigued from Mr. Blue, Andrew Blue, being on your show and introduce himself to the public. I say, who's this guy? His boldness, his confidence, calling himself the lion, and he has been moving about very confidently. When they had the F&M had the last ratification, he showed up with his supporters, and his position is this: he was born there, he lived there, he knows the ins and outs, the struggles of the people. He is one of them from Freetown, and so his support is growing. I think Bahamians are just captivated by the old storyline. And so on my page, it is so active. People were asking up to yesterday. One gentleman messaged me, says 5:38. What about Freetown? I say, no, sir, that's tomorrow.
Listen,
thank you for following.
He has made that one of the races to watch because, I mean, he was trending. I observed it as well, obviously from a distance. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. Let's see what happens tomorrow evening, meaning this evening. And so it is quite intriguing to watch. And it was intriguing as well to see that, listen, they both seem to have a good solid backing this evening behind them. And that's just interesting to obviously see play out. Ellington, your thoughts?
This is a situation that's somewhat unfortunate, and we've seen this play out in several other constituencies, and it is set to play out in some more constituencies. Mr. Pintard obviously has a tremendous amount of work to do. He's been working, trying to pull things together. It remains to be seen whether he can really, in the next several months, really pull this party together, get some of this infighting to cease, and really get ready to go up against the Progressive Liberal Party. That scene just now looked like sometimes on the campaign trail when the Progressive Liberal Party's campaigners and the Free National Movement's campaigners cross line. That is almost what that looked like. And so for that to be F&M's, it's a lot of work that needs to be done to ready themselves to go up against the Progressive Liberal Party in this next general election.
Well, I'll tell you this, you all know history is also unfolding in Killarney. And what I mean by that, you ask? Well, a former prime minister for the first time in Bahamian history is potentially running as an independent candidate. And we have been watching all these little races. Last night we talked about North Eleuthera. So tonight the focus is even. As you all see, it's an even focus. And so we talked about the PLP in North Eleuthera. But going back to Killarney, again, he is making history in terms of a former prime minister, first ever, potentially running as an independent. I got glimpses of some stuff he's doing. Of course, we've been watching him as well over the last several months now. He trends, and often from time to time as well. And the focus, Peggy and Ellington, for him is also food security in Killarney. And so here it is, Dr. Minnis is driving many messages as he continues to obviously let Killarney know that he is not going anywhere. Any response?
Oh, I thought we was waiting for a clip.
No, there's no clip. There's no clip.
Okay, of course, Shanique, we've been talking and following Dr. Minnis. Dr. Minnis PR stepped up. He's standing out in his delivery. What it would be interesting to see, I heard somebody say, oh, it is an F&M seat. Well, that is yet to be proven whether or not good representation, which Dr. Minnis is known for, to be one of the better members of parliament when it comes to his constituency involvement. We've watched it over the years. Even when we might have criticized his leadership of the nation, we had to compliment his leadership in his constituency. And so we will have to wait and see if Bahamians appreciate good representation or they're just diehard party followers.
I think this, and you mentioned it, Shanique, that this is going to be history. I think there's a lot on this upcoming general election that's going to be historical. You're going to see a lot of things moving, and Dr. Minnis is set again to win his seat, most certainly. I think what this creates for the Free National Movement is an unfortunate situation. So the Free National Movement and Dr. Minnis is at odds. They fought over this nomination. There's going to be a continuous fight. It's going to be something that Mr. Pintard obviously wants to take Killarney from Dr. Minnis, obviously. And he's going to put a tremendous amount of effort.
That's going to make it even more interesting, because I think the leader will be putting a lot of effort into Killarney.
A lot of effort that should have been placed in elsewhere. And that's why I said initially, this is a fight that the leader did not need to have. This is something that could have been dealt with a little later on. I'm sure there's going to be some serious hotspots in Grand Bahama also. Mm-hmm. As I said, this is going to be an historical, very interesting election to watch.
Yes. But there are many spots, as mentioned by Mr. Ferguson. When we look at Killarney, now we're looking at Freetown. Bamboo Town has its issues.
That's another Bamboo
Town has
Bamboo
its
Town.
issues.
What's unfolding there?
Wells
ain't going home.
Wells,
you're kidding.
Wells
he's still active. What is he doing now? I have been missing that one.
Wells is not going home.
What is he doing? What is he saying?
Wells showed up to work, and he's ready to work, and he is putting his heart in the race.
Yeah, and he has supporters who are behind him, just
Absolutely.
like Mr. Blue, just like Mr. Minnis. They have this group of supporters say, we're going to support you no matter what decision you make, whether you have a party umbrella or you go as an independent. And that's what is going to make this election even more interesting. And an election, the morning after is the results. I mean, it's just this excitement that is brewing over the 2026 election. And leading up to it, look what happened today. Look what happened when the candidate for the Free National Movement, Ben Kalani, drama. And so as one that loves politics, this is like the best moment ever. And I'm so excited to see it and so excited to talk some stories about it.
And Shanique, if I may, now while all of this is happening, if Honorable Minister Pintard could capitalize on this. I said the Free National Movement have been here before. The question is, does the leadership of Michael Pintard, can they capitalize on this and make it work for their good?
And Michael Pintard has been throughout the many constituency. They say boots on the ground. When they say boots on the ground, that mean the lead and everybody available will show up in your constituency to make it look good. But who's going to go on the ground in Grand Bahama? Are you going to fly them all over? I love this game. I love this sport. I'm waiting to see if all the boots gonna hand up in Marco City.
Yeah, of course, this is the place to election watch, right? Let's come together and like pull up a chair, let's have a party. Of course, we will continue to track what's happening in various constituencies and races just as you are. And so, pull up a chair, man. Let's make it happen here and Beyond the Headlines and have some fun together as we watch, for example, this evening's camp on the campaign trail in our Freetown and what took place there. And every constituency that has an event or has anything going on, certainly, of course, we will bring that to you and have a discussion.
And Mr. Blue, I just love those shorts.
I saw you talking about the shorts before we came on here. I saw you talking about those shorts. You talk about history. I've never seen no.
Mr. Blue, if you win, I want you to show up in the house
in shorts.
And nice tennis.
I don't know whose attention he's trying to get, but he's getting some attention.
All the women can vote for Blue.
I tell you that in shorts, no doubt, on the campaign trail. That's right. Listen, I thank, of course, the president of the Grand Bahama Chamber of Commerce, Dylan Knowles, for joining me this evening at the top of tonight's show. I thank, of course, both of you, Beyond the Headlines contributors, for your always. Listen, I don't know what the dickens they're going to say. Many times I'm nervous to ask because what are they going to do? How are they going to respond? But you know what? I'm happy because you are not muzzled here and certainly no censorship, and you speak and call it as you see it. And so let's continue to do that and have a good time. Thank you to all of you for tuning in this evening. I certainly enjoyed having you along and look forward to seeing you right back here tomorrow evening. For the entire Beyond the Headlines team, I'm Shanique Miller. Make it a great evening, everyone.